Morning. Welcome to the Ministry of Random Opinions. This morning, I've been doing a bit of thinking about trade. Yeah, that's random, right? Not something I ever grew up thinking about. Never really was interested. And even when I had a passing interest in politics, I thought, oh, let's talk about trade. Let's understand how we're trading with our neighbour. I never really did that. So it's quite interesting that at the grand and ripe old age of 57, I'm thinking about trade agreements, probably because they're hitting the news and they're in our purview, as it were. But yeah, and this week especially, it's come to a head with a apparent UK-US trade deal, which, as far as I can tell, is the UK, who were receiving from the Americans a 10% trade tariff, or import duty, as I like to call it, and probably like to use that term for Americans who don't understand that they pay the duty, by the way, but so we call it import duty, and it's the importers are paying the duty. I can't understand why I even have to say that, why people don't understand basic premise of a tariff. Anyway, so the Britons walked in with a 10% trade tariff and walked out with one. Except for steel, which they dropped the tariff rate from 25%, which is nice. I think it's probably got a quota or a cap, which we'll never reach because our steel industry is tiny, right? It's on a cliff edge at the moment, whether we maintain a steel industry at all in the UK, which personally I think is bad for national security. I think everyone else would probably largely feel the same way. I don't know what's going to happen there. But I guess that's what happens when you privatize it and it's a for-profit organization. It's going to decline. And our car industry, which used to be crazy until the 60s and 70s, and union action and lack of quality and build quality of our cars destroyed our industry. We got lazy. We wanted too many rights. Workers were belligerent and kind of walked off the production line at the drop of a hat, basically, for small gains, actually, in the scheme of things. You know, they never really made that much ground when they did strike, and that caused supply chain issues, and you can't do that. As we came into a modern world, it kind of destroyed the motor industry. So we've got relief on cars and steel. Great. But like I said, I think both of those have quotas. Now, Mark Carney previously had been to the White House last week, I think. Was it last week or this week? Anyway, whenever he went to the White House, and kind of demonstrated to the world, this is how you deal with Trump. I respect that man. I think that guy, you know, Canadians, you're lucky to have Mark Carney. I think, you know, at least at the moment, right? When you really need someone who's strong, understands economics, really gets into the detail. I've been impressed with what he said he's going to do for Canada. And I was very impressed with his behaviour at the White House, at the Oval Office. He went in with one objective, and that was to say to the president's face that Canada's not for sale. It's not the 51st state, and it never will be. And it was mission accomplished. He basically said, now whether Trump listened or not, actually immaterial. But I think, as one YouTube outlet put it, the Americans had been friend-zoned by Canada, which is, we're not having a marriage. We're just friends. They could forge a good trading relationship under Mark Carney, and I would rather be in Canada right now than I would be in the UK, especially since the UK seems to be getting really populist. I don't know what's going on. The rise of reform's alarming in the local elections. I just think, you know, what's going on, people? British people, what the fuck are you thinking? You know, this is not the answer. I'm not saying necessarily the perfect answer lives out there, because it doesn't, right? But, man alive. Anyway, trade. So the second thing that happened on trade... Sorry, if I go off sort of randomly alarming on kind of segues, that's just how spicy I am, right? So excuse it and kind of move on. If you have to, wind forward to the good bits or the bits that you want to listen to. So yeah, so part 2 of the trade bit is then the European reaction to the trade agreement, which I don't think really gives the UK that much. And I don't know whether it gives the US that much either. It's it probably took 15 minutes to knock together. It was there for an announcement because Trump was under pressure to do deals. He hadn't done deals. He wanted a deal. He turned to what he thought was a friend, sycophant, in Keir Starmer, someone who he thought he could, not bully necessarily, but, you know, I don't know, have a circle jerk with and kind of come up with a kind of 15 minutes in the making trade deal, which would have to be ratified anyway and has to go through all the various different processes of government. Bullshit. This is why most of the world is stymied in the way it is, because of bureaucracy. But anyway, but yeah, the European reaction to the trade agreement was a bit alarming, if I'll be honest. So there's a stance in Europe that, the UK did a trade deal with the US. Well, they can't have a trade deal with us then. We're not going to get the same trade deal as us. What the fuck is that about? What the fuck is that about? Yaris Varoufakis said on a YouTube video yesterday, that the UK-US deal was a pipsqueak deal and that the only consequential trade deals on the planet are the China, US and EU trade deals. That might be so, but if it is so, and if it is such a pipsqueak deal, why is it biting your ass so much? Why is it that if we trade with the US, we can't trade with the EU? Why do we have to have one or the other? You know, on the same YouTube video, someone guffawing that the UK wanted, you know, it both ways. Are you saying Europe doesn't? Are you saying US doesn't? Are you saying China doesn't? Of course everyone wants it both ways. The idea of the government and government trade deals is to look after their fucking population, right? To look after their citizens, their country and their interests, right? That's the point. That's when you negotiate it. So this European ass slap of bullshit is driving me fucking nuts. It's a typical European reaction. I hate to say this because I love the people of Europe. I fucking love the people of Europe. Yeah, I love Portugal, for example. I love France. I love the south of France. It's just amazing. The people are lovely. It's an awesome place. But what is it about European leaders when they get in a room? This insistence that they are mighty and powerful and what they say is the end of it. I mean, God, I remember Brexit. I had to live through Brexit. It was the wrong thing to do. Anyway, I never voted for Brexit. Why would you vote for Brexit? I mean, you had a trading agreement with Europe. It was a free trade agreement, free movement around Europe. I mean, what's not to like about that? Kids could travel, could go and live and work in different places. Older people could buy places and go and live in different countries. It was fantastic. The freedom was amazing. Oh yeah, but we're gonna get 300 fucking million a fucking day back into the NHS. No, we're fucking not. No, we're not. The NHS is in a worse place now than it probably was then. Although our current government is spaffing cash on it left, right and centre, and you've got the fucking crazy ass health secretary who can't fucking stand, by the way, because he's such a nasty piece of work, talks over people. It just has this kind of real populist position about him, you know, where he presents it. Anyway, I'm going off on rails here. You can see that I have some strong opinions, but this is the Ministry of Random Opinion, so my opinions are random. I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to get just really fucked off with it all. I'm going to try and do a guest video in the next couple of days, hopefully with a mate of mine, where we can chat shit, maybe over whiskey, maybe not. We'll see. Hopefully I'll get it done if the stars align, and I'll put that and that'll come up on the YouTube next. But like, subscribe, because this is a social commentary experiment. We're trying to build a channel based on just random opinions of old British men and others. I mean, I might have others. But listen, have a great day. It's sunny here. I hope it's sunny where you are. Have an amazing day.